Powered by Riverside FM.
I think it's safe to say that JJ McCarthy right now is penciled in as QB1 for the 2025 season. I am happy to have JJ McCarthy as our QB1. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do at quarterback in terms of backups? I know a lot of the speculation, a lot of the talk has been about Aaron Rodgers. I know people are getting exhausted with the topic, but it's a valid topic that's out there, so I'm not afraid to talk about it. But what are we going to do in terms of backup QB? There's just a lot of different options out there, and if you think JJ McCarthy is the guy, do you want a veteran behind JJ McCarthy? Do you want another young buck behind JJ McCarthy? What do you need? Who do you need in the cornerback room? I think everybody agrees that Rippon is not enough. I don't know if KOC or Kwesi looks at Rippon in terms of being a number 2. I'm not sure. I mean, I think his biggest highlight was when he was with the Bears. I think he tore it up in a Hall of Fame game in the preseason. That's been about it for Rippon. So I don't know how secure you feel with him being your backup. But there's a lot of names that are out there, a lot of names that I wouldn't consider, and some names that I would consider. I've been hearing names like Jameis Winston. And again, I don't know. When you look at Jameis Winston's body of work, he was drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Arguably got off to a really, really good start when he was drafted out of Florida State, had a pretty decent start to his NFL career, and then everything just started to fizzle. He left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and went to the New Orleans Saints and had his moments in New Orleans and then fizzled. His coach in New Orleans told him to take a knee. He called a play to get his boy a touchdown. So you just never know with Jameis Winston. He's got a checkered pass and a level of play that is inconsistent at best. Had his moments with the Cleveland Browns last year when Deshaun Watson went down. You thought Jameis Winston, when he came in, you thought, okay, this could be something, but Jameis Winston turned into a pumpkin like he always does. And everything went downhill from there. So when you look at the list of possible backup quarterbacks and you see his name on the list, my question to anybody out there that's a Winston fan is, why would you bring him into the Vikings? If everybody is so sensitive about the culture, what type of culture does Winston bring into the Minnesota Vikings? Inconsistency, mediocrity, checkered pass, overriding something that his head coach wants? Why would he even be on the list? I'm not putting Winston on the list. Trey Lance, to me, is a really intriguing one. But I think the criteria for your backup quarterback should be this. If JJ McCarthy goes down, he's coming off a knee repair. And again, I don't think a meniscus is that big of a deal. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a major operation, but it's not like an ACL or total knee reconstruction. But if you're bringing a Trey Lance, you're expecting that if JJ McCarthy goes down or for whatever reason can't finish the season, maybe he doesn't play well, you're going to hand the reins over to Trey Lance? And I'm just going through the list of possible backup quarterbacks that are out there that have been mentioned that the Minnesota Vikings may be interested in. So my question is, why would you be interested in a Trey Lance? What does he do for you? He's not in the same category as a Daniel Jones. He's not that. Where if JJ McCarthy, God forbid, were to go down, Daniel Jones has some games under his belt. He even has a playoff win against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. So he has that experience if something were to happen. But Trey Lance doesn't have that, so why would you even consider Trey Lance? number one quarterback on my list that I want the Minnesota Vikings to take a really good look at is Mack Jones. Mack Jones was evaluated by Bill Belichick to be better than Cam Newton, took over the reins in the Patriots. Now, I know there's a lot that comes out about Mack Jones being a jerk, not being a good teammate. So, again, when you talk about the culture, you know, if you can say these things about a Aaron Rodgers or Jameis Winston, you sure as hell can say them about Mack Jones. Why would you want him in that quarterback room? But in terms of fit for what KOC wants to do, I personally like a Mack Jones other than the bad teammate stuff, the jerk stuff. But in terms of physical play, I think Mack Jones would definitely be an option. Another fun option would be Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, everywhere he's gone, has been pretty decent. He's not a QB1. He's not a franchise quarterback. But if you need about 3 or 4 games and your quarterback goes down and you want somebody to go in that's a playmaker that can make plays, Gardner Minshew is that dude. No question about that. Gardner Minshew is that dude. He is the guy where if something were to happen to JJ, you would feel comfortable with Gardner Minshew giving you a few games. UP Nation, who would you want as a backup quarterback to the Minnesota Vikings? People have been talking about Case Keenum. I don't know how much Case Keenum has left. Definitely would be a veteran. Knows the city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota. Been here before. Had some big moments before. I just don't know what Case Keenum has left in the tank, man. The name that I keep hearing is Marcus Mariota. I think he would be a good fit. Marcus Mariota still has a little bit of athleticism, can scramble around a little bit, can throw it a little bit, adds a little versatility to the quarterback spot. I don't mind Marcus Mariota. Cooper Rush, I know he had his moments in Dallas. I don't know if Cooper Rush would be the answer in terms of backup for the Minnesota Vikings, but I wouldn't frown at that. Cooper Rush is definitely an option. Drew Lock, I don't know about Drew Lock. You know who I would take a flyer on is Joe Flacco. Again, man, you got a veteran, been there, done that, can mentor JJ. And Joe Flacco still can play a little bit. I know it didn't go well in Indianapolis, man. But again, I keep telling people it's about environment and situations. And I don't know if Indianapolis was a situation. You saw what he did with the Cleveland Browns, took them to the playoffs, didn't win the Super Bowl, but I don't think anybody expected the Cleveland Browns to go to the Super Bowl anyway. But I would take a hard look at Joe Flacco as well. I think the backup quarterback spot, man, is going to be crucial, especially when you have a 22-year-old quarterback that's possibly coming off of, a repair to his knee. And God forbid something were to happen, knee gets hit, the knee gets banged, or maybe he has a setback. You're going to need a good number 2 to come in and play, give you some downs, give you some games, and it's got to be somebody where you don't fall off a cliff if you put him in like Nick Mullins and the fellas a couple years ago. Man, remember that Sunday night, Monday night game with the Bears where the Minnesota Vikings just had no offense with Nick Mullins at QB and the Pastronaut? Man, that was bad football. That was absolutely bad football. So the number 2 quarterback is really, really important. It's going to be interesting, kind of crazy to see what happens. I know all the Aaron Rodgers talk is out there, man. I think that's, again, I said it before, I think that's pretty valid when it comes to the whole Aaron Rodgers talk, man. I just got a crazy feeling about that stuff. But this has been Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Please consider becoming a member. Those that become a member will be entered into a drawing to win a Minnesota Vikings Winter Warrior jersey. This has been the UP. We will make sure to see you when we see you.